ZHIYUN have released some amazing mobile stabilizers over the last 2 years, and this year they've upgraded their Smooth Q to the brand new ZHIYUN Smooth 4. And today we're going to take it out for a review and compare it to the beloved DJI Osmo Mobile 2 at Golden Skate Park. So the ZHIYUN Smooth 4, it's a 3-axis gimbal stabilizer designed for all smartphones, big and small. So as you can see, we've got the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 with a Tech 21 case attached to the Smooth 4, and it's handling perfectly. So now we're going to take it for a test run. So to kick off the comparison segment of the video, I'm just going to go over what you get in the box in the Osmo Mobile 2 and the ZHIYUN Smooth 4. They're both styrofoam boxes. Firstly, with the DJI Osmo Mobile 2, on opening, you get a micro USB cable, as well as the gimbal. And with the ZHIYUN Smooth 4, you get the gimbal, a USB-C cable, and a really nifty mini tripod. So now, I'm going to talk about the similar features. So what the ZHIYUN Smooth 4 and the DJI Osmo Mobile 2 have in common is that they're both 3-axis gimbal stabilizers with pan, follow, and lock modes. They both have 1/4-inch screws at the bottom, so you can mount a tripod or a monopod to the bottom. Both stabilizers can house plus side phones, and they can both be switched to portrait orientation. Both stabilizers can also charge your phone while shooting and have multiple time-lapse functions and object tracking in their apps. They both have inbuilt batteries and they're charged within the stabilizer. And finally, they share the same price point, around $200. So I'm just going to compare the two stabilizers aesthetically, starting with the DJI Osmo Mobile 2. Firstly, it uses a simple interface. It's got a record button to stop and start recording, a mode button so you can swap between pan, follow and your lock mode, a zoom toggle between wide and telephoto, and a joystick for you to tilt and pan your camera. The physical handle on the DJI Osmo Mobile 2 is pretty small and it's round, and it uses a micro USB port for charging. And next, we're going to have a look at the ZHIYUN Smooth 4, which has a ginormous control panel at the front of it. The control panel houses a record button, a menu button, a display function button, and a tracking button. Then in the middle, it has a rotating wheel, which you can control exposure, swapping cameras, and playback. Moving on to the side, it has a USB-C port for charging, and on the other side, it has a wheel that you can use it for zooming and focusing. At the back of the Smooth 4, it has a button for you to press so you can reposition the camera. On top of the Smooth 4, there is a locking compartment that locks the top of the gimbal, so it's a lot easier to pack, as well as it doesn't move around when you're walking around. And finally, our favorite aesthetic feature of the Smooth 4, it has a switch at the bottom for you to toggle between pan, follow and the lock mode. Both gimbal stabilizers give similar performance, but when you're filming, we found them to be completely different. So firstly, with the DJI Osmo Mobile 2, it's super simple, the record button to start and stop the footage, and the joystick made it really easy to tilt up and down and pan left and right. Where it was difficult is when you're filming, changing settings is really difficult. And even setting up your shot, you need to touch the screen to basically do anything. Whilst in comparison to the Smooth 4, it's a lot easier to change your settings when you're filming, because everything you need is on the panel, such as zooming, focusing, recording, turning on and off the torch, and your exposure compensation, so you don't have to fiddle around with the phone as much. In terms of the creative mode on the Smooth 4 as well, there is a really cool function called the vertigo shot, and you can see it right now in action. So what are my thoughts on the ZHIYUN Smooth 4? I love it. The build quality is solid even though it's predominantly plastic. Although the gimbal is big, it fills up your hand nicely, and the performance, I can't really complain. It does what a phone stabilizer needs to do, and with the huge phones we chucked on it, it never once struggled. Using it, there is a bit of a learning curve, as there are a lot of buttons and features that you can use on the gimbal. And I feel the zoom function could be a bit better, however to its defense, it works well on the iPhone. So it could just be a software issue which can be fixed. In saying that, the ZHIYUN Smooth 4, I believe, is more of a filmmaker's tool. It has all the controls and features such as vertigo mode, and has a lot of power that's in your hand to make it super easy to create unique and amazing content. Whereas the DJI Osmo Mobile 2 is more for people who just want mobile stabilization, but don't really need all that jazz.
There are just a couple things to touch on. Firstly, the size of it, it's a bit big. And there's no joystick, which is one feature I like on the Osmo Mobile 2. And finally, the ZHIYUN Play app, although it does everything you fundamentally need it to do, there are some extra features such as the object tracking, which I found a bit intermittent on the Android app, but I'm sure that's something that ZHIYUN will fix in future updates. All in all though, the ZHIYUN Smooth 4 is a brilliant gimbal stabilizer, and it really holds up against the DJI Osmo Mobile 2. Not only does it stabilize well, the performance is super good, and it stabilizes on big phones with cases on them, which is a huge plus. Other things as well, the focus and zoom wheel is really good. The fact that you have this whole control section on the gimbal is amazing, which the Osmo Mobile does lack. And the fact is, you basically don't have to touch your phone to operate the gimbal, and I think that's a big plus for this. Other features as well, such as the vertigo mode, is super cool, and it's really cool to see something in a budget gimbal stabilizer that really sets it out from the rest. Make sure to follow our Instagram and Facebook pages, which will link in the description below. If you have any questions on the Smooth 4, make sure to write them in the comments below, and if you enjoyed our video, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our next update. See you later.